Nano Banana Pro changes everything. It's a new AI image model from Google, and it's by far the most useful image model of all time. Yet most people have no idea what it can do. Nano Banana Pro can think before generating, recreate any style, generate perfect text, and execute complex edits. Yeah, this model is insane. But most videos only show you the cool images that it can make. Instead, we'll go deeper. In this video, I'll show you how to correctly prompt Nano Banana Pro, the technical secrets of the model, practical ways to adapt it in your life, how the SynthID watermark works, and how to build your own app powered by Nano Banana Pro. Because this model just enabled so many new startups. So if you want to have an unfair advantage over everyone else, watch until the end. Now, what even is Nano Banana Pro? Well, it's a new image model from Google. And as a little game, try guessing which of these is actually AI. And if you said on the left, you would be correct. But if you said on the right, you would also be correct because both are AI. The left is the old version of Nano Banana and the right is Nano Banana Pro. And you can see that this image truly cannot be recognized. And a big part of this is that Nano Banana Pro was built on top of Gemini 3 Pro, which right now is the best AI model in the world by a lot. Another thing that makes Nano Banana Pro very, very powerful is that it has native grounding with Google Search. Let me just give you a quick example. So here I am in Google AI Studio, which by the way is the best place to use Nano Banana Pro. And then I'm gonna say, create a realistic photograph of Vik, Norway at the current time of weather, which by the way, that's where I'm at right now, in the fjords in Norway. So on the right, I'm gonna select aspect ratio 69 and let's do 1K resolution and let's run it. Now, as you can see, the model starts thinking, right? So it thinks for 10, 20, 30 seconds before actually creating the image. And this is what makes Nano Banana Pro so freaking good. It's like the jump from one-shot LLMs that we've seen in 2023, 2024 to reasoning models that we have now. And there it is. You can see that it used the sources, time and date, weather crave, and Shutterstock to actually generate an accurate image of Vik. And here it is. And if we look outside, it's not too different. The weather is actually almost identical. In fact, you should try it on your own city or village where you live and you'll be shocked at the accuracy. Now, you might be wondering, but David, how does this model work? How is it so good? Well, most popular AI image models are simply diffusion based, right? And yeah, by the way, this graphic was generated with Nano Banana Pro and it's incredible. To put it super simply, diffusion means it starts from noise and then it denoises to get the final image. However, Nano Banana Pro might also have some autoregressive properties. So autoregressive models work more similar to how LLMs work, where the images are tokenized into tokens, which are saved in weights and biases, and then during generation, we use an autoregressive transformer, which gets constructed into a generated token sequence that results in the final output image. Simply put, autoregressive models generate image tokens step by step, like an LLM does for text. But in this case, it's for pixels. Now, the truth is that we don't actually know which architecture Nano Banana Pro uses because Google doesn't tell us. You know, it's one of their proprietary company secrets. But what isn't a secret is how to actually use the model, which is what I'm gonna show you in this video. So rather than just showing you a bunch of flashy tweets like everyone else does, we will focus on real actionable use cases for entrepreneurs and developers that will either allow you to save time, make money, or become smarter. Imagine having access to a full advanced course on ChatGPT just a few days after it released. It would give you an insane advantage over all other companies and individuals. This is that video, but for Nano Banana Pro. Real quick, in the next few days, I'm launching my own startup accelerator where I'll closely work with a couple of individuals to help them scale their software company. The spots are going to be limited, so if you're interested, sign up to the free waitlist, link below the video. Alright, so let me explain why Nano Banana Pro changes everything. This is not just an incremental upgrade, another mid-journey version. This model is completely different and it unlocks infinite possibilities in basically all domains of your life or your business. First off, let's look at what makes it so powerful, and the hidden reasoning layer, probably the main thing. So, unlike other models, Nano Banana Pro plans the scene first, likely using a hidden draft or a thought-like images internally. Here is a nice visual explanation of how that works, again, generated by Nano Banana Pro. And this is really the secret sauce behind Nano Banana Pro. It has this three-phase loop inside of it. And by the way, this is why Nano Banana Pro is slower than other image models, but way more accurate and way more realistic. Another reason why Nano Banana Pro is a complete game changer is its performance on text, diagrams, and 4K details. Just take a look at this example, okay? The prompt is solve this on the notebook with the same handwriting. So you put the left side as the input image, right? And this is what it generates. Not only is it completely accurate, where all the details are remained, and you can see like the binder, the pen, the same desk, nothing has changed, except that Nano Banana Pro solved this double integral on the paper in the same handwriting as the original text. This is absolutely insane. Like, nothing like this was possible ever before, and it will unlock so many different capabilities and problems, startups. Yeah, we really are living in the future, guys. In fact, what's ironic is that one of the best ways to spot AI images now is perfect text, right? There's no like accidental crossings or, smudging, or the pen is different shades. When the text is too perfect and there is no corrections and no variations, that's how you can tell it's AI. Another thing that absolutely blew my mind is the perfect time and space understanding of Nano Banana Pro. And this is an incredible example. So here the original prompt was create an image at coordinates, north and east, and the date April 3rd, 33 CE, 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And you can see that this is the moment that historically Jesus was crucified. And the model itself knows it, right? Thanks to its hidden reasoning layer and the grounding with Google search, it's able to figure out that this is next to Jerusalem and that this is the day Jesus Christ was crucified. And it's able to generate an insanely accurate image of that event. Now, what makes this model good also makes it very dangerous, because the near perfect text and the super high realism both make it much harder to spot any hallucinations, right? Because if only half of the things are correct, then you can see the other half, you need to check it. But if 99% of things are correct on the image, you won't even get the idea to check it because it just seems perfect on the first try. So this is a pro tip to all of you. If you're going to use Nano Banana Pro in your business, in your company, in your life, where the stakes are high, make sure to triple check everything, even the stuff that might seem obvious. Because even though this model is the best image model in the world, it still can hallucinate, and the hallucinations that it produces are very difficult to spot. Now, before we jump to the use cases, let me show you one more example of style and consistency. So this model, you can give it your face and it can output insane variations. New hairstyle, new clothing, different times, different ages. Just take a look at this example, right? So here the user asked, make a 4x4 grid starting with the 1880s. In each section, I should appear styled according to that decade. Clothing, hairstyle, facial hair, accessories. Use colors, background, and fill style accordingly. And look at this. We have 16 different images from 1880s to the 2030s. And not only does each of these 16 images perfectly represent that era, that decade, but it also aligns to the user's actual face. And you can see that this is the same person in all 16. And it looks like the same person. It's not muffled or slightly altered like you would get with other image generation models. Here, the character consistency and the style consistency is near perfect. Now, this actually has some serious implications, because if you think about it for a second, and if you think about the second order consequences of this, you'll realize that there's basically no need to train LoRa's anymore. Nano Banana Pro is simply that good at editing, at consistency, right? You can give it your own face or your own product photos or your own cat or a piece of clothing, and it will simply generate anything you want with it. You don't need to train a LoRa on Flux One like we had to do in the past, which of course I covered on this channel, so make sure to subscribe to be ahead of everyone else. But thanks to Nano Banana Pro, you can just drag in one or two examples as reference images into the prompt, and it will give you your own face basically perfectly without having to do a complex training run, fine-tuning a model like we had to do it with LoRa's in the past. Alright, so let's talk about where you can actually use Nano Banana Pro. And there are a few options, right? So first is the Gemini app. This is the most obvious. When you go to gemini.google.com, you obviously have the option to click on Tools and Create Images. This will use Nano Banana Pro for now, if you have access to Gemini 3 Pro, that is. So either the Pro plan or the Ultra plan. I think even if you have Google Workspace, you will have access. But basically, no matter what you want to create, such as explain how backpropagation works by creating an image in surrealist style, it will load up Nano Banana Pro and it will create the image. Now, this is where most people will use Nano Banana Pro, but it definitely is not the best way to use it. And I'm going to show you a couple of better options on how to use Nano Banana Pro. Okay, so here we have the image that it generated. And one thing you might notice is that there is this watermark in the bottom right corner of the image. And this only happens if you use the Gemini app, which is why I would recommend you to use Google AI Studio, which is what I used earlier to generate this image of Vic. Because not only do you not get that annoying watermark, right, this star in the bottom right, but also you have way more options and settings. And this really is the place where entrepreneurs and developers should be using Nano Banana Pro. Because not only do you get high resolutions, you also have custom aspect ratios, more tools, and more control over the model, and I would say a better UI as well. Let me just show you. So this is what Google AI Studio looks like. So first off, on the left, click on Playground. and we can actually close the nav menu. Then I'm gonna move my webcam so you can see all the settings on the right. Okay, so at the top, we have the model itself, right? So you can select Nano Banana Pro, you can also use Gemini 3 Pro, and all the other models that Google has to offer. Obviously, this video is about Nano Banana Pro, so let's select that one. Then we have system instructions. Here you can give it more context. Let's say you're generating a comic book, or you're generating a story that's gonna be turned into a movie, or you're creating Facebook ads, whatever. You just describe the broad work you're doing, right? If you're working on more than one image, it's probably good to describe what you're doing in the system prompt. Then you have the API key. This is what you need to connect in order to use paid models like Nano Banana Pro. Again, if you wanted to make a full video on Google AI Studio, make sure to comment below and subscribe, because there is a lot of different settings and it's an amazing tool, and honestly, it probably deserves its whole video. Then we have the temperature. This is how creative or varied the results are gonna be. The best results are at 1, as it says, but if you want to have like more consistency and more randomness, then you can lower it to 0 or 0.1, whatever. But then these are the most important settings. We have the aspect ratio, which obviously is essential when generating images, which 1:1 is square. Then we have 16:9, this is classic YouTube video. We have 9:16, this is like short form TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Reels. 21:9, this is like cinematic, all kinds of different, 3:2, this is like Instagram posts, whatever you want. All of the main aspect ratios are in here, which again, you don't get that control inside of the Gemini app. But then, not only that, you get the resolution. So the default is 1K, which is already pretty good. And like a lot of these images that I showed you in the TL draw so far were 1K images. However, there's also 2K, which is 2000 pixels. If you don't know these resolutions, what they mean. It's basically how many pixels there is on the longer side of the image. But not only that, there's also 4K. Obviously, 2K and 4K are gonna take longer and they're gonna be more expensive, but the results are that much more impressive. Especially if you ask for a lot of details like I did in these images. You can see that the explanation of the autoregressive models is very, very detailed, and there is lots of small text that, all of it seems accurate. I don't see any spelling mistakes, and this, I think, was only 2K. So the 4K image will be even more detailed. So let me show you a quick practical use case that all of us can use. So aspect ratio, we're going to do 9:16, which is the Instagram story format. We're going to go 2K resolution, and I'm going to do an Instagram story promoting your software company. So here is a simple example that all of us could benefit from. Create a visual Instagram story promoting my AI software tool that uses Nano Banana Pro to generate product photos for Shopify e-commerce stores. So of course you can use this no matter what app you have, no matter what software you've built, to generate lots of vertical images for stories, for Snapchat, whatever you want, just for paid ads as well, and have authentic, unique images that stand out, generated with Nano Banana Pro. All right, here it is. You can see that it used some Google search during the reasoning process. And yeah, this looks like a unique Instagram story. It even has the call to action, swipe up to try. Guys, if you think about the implications of this is like the cursor moment, but for marketing, right? Whereas Cursor and other AI agents, Claude Code Codex, made building software easier than ever before. Now, thanks to Nano Banana Pro, marketing and advertising your software or your app has never been easier. It's like accessible to everybody. You don't have to be a professional designer. You don't have to be a professional marketer. If you just learn how to use Nano Banana Pro, which you will learn from this video, you will have an insanely powerful tool at your disposal that allows you to market any business, any product, anything you want with unique images that are attention grabbing, that are relevant to your product with perfect text. The fact that this is now possible is incredible, and most people are just not going to do anything about it. They're going to see this video, they're going to think, oh, this is pretty cool, and they're not going to implement it. That's the angle I took with this video. My goal is to show you how you can implement this, because this is beyond powerful. If you start using it, your business can transform overnight. You can have way more creatives, way more A/B tests, way more assets than ever before, for a fraction of the cost. Now, if you think this is impressive, just wait until you see what's coming. Because later on in this TL draw, I have some incredible use cases that are gonna blow your mind. Now, another place where you can use Nano Banana Pro is, of course, in Notebook LM, which is Google's tool for learning, research, and understanding. And this really is the best way to use Nano Banana Pro to become smarter. Now, I just made a whole video on Notebook LM, so I'm gonna link that below the video, so make sure to watch it after this one. But just to show you a quick overview, inside of Notebook LM, if you open any of your notebooks, on the right we have some new formats, right? So before we only had these 6, and now we have an infographic and a slide deck, and both of these use Nano Banana Pro to help you learn faster and upskill yourself. Really, this is the main superpower, learning and becoming smarter, not, having AI do all the work, but having AI upskill yourself, become a more competent individual, give yourself a more valuable skill set, learn another language, improve your technical skills, whatever it is. That is by far the best way to use AI. And then also you can use Nano Banana Pro inside of your Google Slides to take your presentations to the next level. So let me show you an example straight from Google. Now keep in mind that some of these features are only available in the USA, but man, this is a crazy fix. So it's a very basic slide, right? That takes like a couple, 30 seconds, minute to create, and you click on beautify and look at that. Incredible improvement of the design. So yeah, having a sloppy presentation, really, there's no excuse nowadays, because Nano Banana Pro is going to be integrated in all Google products so that you can just one-click it and use it to design anything you want. Yeah, I mean, these slides would have taken weeks. Like, if you're a designer, still, it would take you a couple of hours at minimum to create these. But now, thanks to Nano Banana Pro, it's simply a single prompt. All right, so let's jump into the practical use cases, and these are going to be focused on either making money or increasing your own leverage in your business. First of all, social media and personal brand. Again, absolutely insane game changer for no matter what you do, right? Instagram, Twitter, YouTube thumbnails. It's just endless opportunities and endless variations, and no matter what you want to imagine, now it's possible, right? So the workflow works like this. You do a deep research on any topic that you're interested in or that your audience is interested in. Then you paste that result of the deep research. So, maybe we would open up Perplexity, or you can use Gemini, of course, and say, explain the key moves Google did over the last 3 years to go from being super behind on AI to become the market leader. Okay, so we will launch a deep research on this. Then we would switch into Google AI Studio right here. Boom, I'm gonna create a new chat. Let's prepare something. So this could be like a one-on-one post, maybe on Twitter or Instagram. Let's do 1K for a faster generation. And then we're gonna prepare a prompt while this deep research is still going. Generate a treasure style-like map of Google's key moves and decisions that resulted in their insane AI comeback. Here's more context. And I'm gonna do XML tags because that's how you do proper context engineering. Boom, and then inside of those, I'm gonna paste in the results of the deep research, which again, Perplexity checks like 100 different sources, so this is gonna be very accurate, and it's gonna be better than if you just rely on the built-in Google search from Nano Banana Pro, right? Because if you've been paying attention to this video, you'll be like, hey, David, you mentioned that Nano Banana Pro can do Google search, and that is correct, and it's good. Then it's better than nothing, but it's not a deep research, right? It's good for like simple facts, just checking the weather in a place, stuff like that. If you want Nano Banana Pro to perform at the highest level, you should provide the context. So that it doesn't have to do many different things, right? If it needs to do web search and then the reasoning and then image generation, it still can do all of these, and it can do all of these really well, but it's better if you describe the style of the image, if you give it the context, and all it has to do is generate a nice image. So that is a prompt engineering tip. Okay, here we have the deep research, so I'm just gonna copy the whole thing, paste it in between the XML tags, and hit run. Now, what I did is I provided Nano Banana Pro with the essential context, the information. So it doesn't have to do as much reasoning and web search, it can focus on generating the image that I want. And this, of course, is absolutely huge for building your social media or personal brand. You can literally hire like a virtual assistant from Philippines or India or whatever to just do this for you. Or if you want to be next level, and if you're watching this channel, just build an editing automation, right? Build an automation for this with OpenRouter that uses Nano Banana Pro, which, by the way, the naming is Gemini 3 Pro image, right? So Nano Banana Pro is like the public-facing naming, but the official API naming is Gemini 3 Pro image preview. So you can use this either through Gemini API or just OpenRouter. And inside of N8N, you can just build an automation that checks the web for daily news or interesting topics or whatever you want, feeds that into a Perplexity deep research, which, by the way, that is also available. It's right here, Sonar deep research. It's also in OpenRouter, so you can just do both of these. So the deep research does exactly what we did here, but automatically. And then you take all the results and feed them into Nano Banana Pro, just like we did right here. But all of that can happen inside of N8N automation. Very simple automation, like less than 5 nodes, but very, very powerful. And it can take your social media marketing to the next level, as you can see right here with this example, where we can see how Google navigated the treacherous AI waters to become the winner of AI. So at the start, there was the code red. It's actually very interesting, guys. Holy shit. I should probably not swear, but hey, YouTube already is terrible AdSense, so it doesn't matter. So they got the code red, right? Where the ChatGPT tornado was coming, Google started to panic. Now, luckily, they had the custom Silicon Edge, their own TPUs, which made them not reliant on NVIDIA, something that other AI companies cannot say. However, the road wasn't easy. It started with the BART failure. In 2023, they launched BART. It was a complete flop. Even the official demo live just had a complete hallucination. Terrible, right? But then there was the great merger. DeepMind and Google Brain united in April of 2023. And this was one of the first major moves that Google did. Then we have the model archipelago, where they renamed BART to Gemini, and they released Gemini 1, 1.5, 1.5 Pro, 2, 2.5 Pro, 2.5 Flash, and now Gemini 3, which is the frontier model leader. And this actually resulted in defensible mode and future growth, putting Google at the very top of the AI game, letting their AI models reach billions of users. Yeah, this is really good, guys. This is insane. Like, this literally is a whole story in a single image. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Like, words are very difficult to describe. You really have to try this yourself. Like that, if you take something from this video, go into Google AI Studio and start generating images yourself. You have to. Otherwise, you will fall behind. There's no alternative. The second practical use case how you can make more money with Nano Banana Pro is if you're a freelancer or if you work with clients. There are right about infinite ways to make more money with this, okay? So let me give you just a few examples to make this super tactical. Logos, right? You can design logos, improve logos, give them different variation, dark mode, light mode, retro style, whatever, right? UI designs, any type of UI, any type of website you can recreate, or if there is a website like, maybe your school has a terrible UI, most likely, your local restaurant has a terrible website, most likely, you can just one shot improve their UI and upsell them on your services, right? And it's much easier, like this is the pro tip right here. It's much easier to sell anything if you already deliver free value. If you come up to a business and you tell them, hey, I can rebuild your entire website, obviously you'll use AI agents to help you out, but you just tell them like, your website is terrible, it's probably ruining your conversions, I'm gonna give you a new website, here's what it looks like. And you give them the design for free. When you have something to show on the sales call or on the pitch, your close rate will massively improve. And this really applies to no matter if you're a freelancer or no matter if you work with any types of sales or clients. If you have something to show, if you show that you already did some work for them for free, it's like, wow, this guy, he did this for free. Imagine what he would do if I paid him, right? And then obviously selling that client is much, much easier. Another example, e-commerce photo shoots. This is gonna be huge for any e-commerce store, right? Physical products, you're selling t-shirts, headphones, sunglasses, accessories, whatever, fashion, whatever you're trying to sell. This is a complete game changer. It's over, right? Like, it's like instead of hiring expensive models, studios, photographers, traveling around the world into locations, you can take your water bottle, put it in the Norwegian fjord for $0, or okay, API costs for Nano Banana Pro, which like we can look at the API costs, which are pretty like, compared to hiring real life humans, models, photo shoots, camera gear, equipment, this is negligible, right? It's like, it's 2 to 3 orders of magnitude cheaper. Insane. So if you're running e-commerce store, if you're doing any drop shipping or Shopify store, physical white label, game changer, total game changer for you. Same with YouTube, right? For me, YouTube thumbnails, generating variations has never been easier. I can change the t-shirts, I can change the background, I can change the text, I can change my facial expression as well. It really is crazy. Like this, you can take this service and sell it to any content creator. Maybe outside of people in AI because they're locked in. But outside of AI, fitness, gaming, entertainment, food, there is endless types of videos on YouTube. You can just tell them professional thumbnails, right? And just a quick search on Fiverr, you can see that like, this is nothing. This is like cringe. This is like slop, This feels like Mr. Beast, but from Temu. You can generate much better thumbnails than this with Nano Banana Pro for pennies on the dollar. And you can put all of these people who make shitty thumbnails out of business, right? Or you can just improve your own videos. If you make content yourself, make thumbnails, test new variations, test new formats, stuff that otherwise would either take you hours to recreate, or you would need a professional designer. You can do that right now yourself in a matter of a few minutes with Nano Banana Pro. So yeah, no matter what you do, use this to give the client free taste test, right? Like a teaser, generate an image with Nano Banana Pro. I would recommend not doing one-to-one. I would do something more esoteric, like 21:9, because everybody will do one-to-one, So choose an aspect ratio that's a bit more esoteric. Do like 0.75 temperature right here, resolution 2K or 4K. Write some system prompt and use like a professional-looking style. Maybe a treasure map is not the best idea, but hey, maybe you can try it. But the point is that if you actually use this before your sales calls, which again, writing a single prompt takes 10 seconds, this will massively improve your close rate and inevitably make you more money. Now, let's say you already have a business. How would you use Nano Banana Pro to scale? Well, there are several different ways, right? First of all, new creatives. If you're running paid ads, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, with Nano Banana Pro, you can just create new image creatives nearly instantly. And then you can feed the images into videos and then generate video creatives. But again, that's a topic for a whole nother video, how to use VO3 or Kling or Seedream to turn amazing AI videos to turn amazing AI images into realistic AI videos. So again, if you want a video on that, comment below. Another thing you can do is A/B test your landing pages, right? So here, obviously, I had Nano Banana generate an image of how Nano Banana Pro would improve a business. So first of all, it's new creatives, but then it's A/B testing landing pages. Let's say you have your own software, you have your own SaaS, or whatever website you have a landing page, right? You're selling something, you probably have a landing page. Well, guess what? All of us want better conversion rate. And now it has never been easier to just A/B test a different design, different layout, different text, different gradients, color palettes, whatever you want. Nano Banana Pro makes this possible. Organic content engine. So this is what I explained earlier. You can step up your organic content game to a level never before seen. And no matter if you're doing short form or just images or just like B-roll for videos, right? Just what I'm doing right now, I have supportive visuals for this video. This is a long form piece of content where I'm explaining something. And if I just had, imagine this. How boring is this, right? Just text. The average view duration of this video would be much lower if I didn't have this supportive image, which is visual, explanatory, and I used Nano Banana Pro to create it. So you literally, I'm not just talking, I'm showing you what you should do. I walk the walk, as the Americans say. Next, training new hires. So whatever SOPs, playbooks you have, you can just turn that into a visual image and you can train new hires much, much faster because visual learning is much more efficient, which I'm going to explain in a bit because that's a whole another can of worms. Visual learning, it's insane. Or as I said, better product photos if you're selling something physical. Actually incredible. And of course, these are just a couple of ways you can scale your business with Nano Banana Pro. It doesn't take a genius to think of dozens of other use cases to increase your business, to improve your marketing, to improve your branding. This model really is it's like a ChatGPT moment for AI images. Really revolutionary. Now, another use case of Nano Banana Pro is personal life use cases, right? So for example, dating. I think this is going to absolutely destroy dating apps because you can just generate images of yourself doing crazy activities that otherwise you wouldn't do, or traveling all around the world, or make yourself look better, give yourself six-pack, put yourself in expensive clothes. This will happen even if you like it or not, right? Men will do it, girls will do it. Yeah, it's going to destroy dating apps. Or at least the dating app companies implement SynthID detection, right? But in the meantime, it's going to be an absolutely untapped strategy. Now, moving on to a more serious use case to improve your career, right? Headshots, resumes, CVs, your website. This is an AI-generated photo of me wearing suits. I don't really wear suits, guys. It's just like a t-shirt is fine. But hey, maybe that's because I run my own business and I don't have to do much networking. But funnily enough, I actually use this on LinkedIn now. So if we go to my LinkedIn, you will see that I have changed my photo to this, right? And the reason is, it just looks good. I don't know, it looks much better than what I had before. Looks professional, looks like a high quality headshot. And yeah, of course, it was generated by Nano Banana Pro. So while in the past you have to spend a lot of money on a nice suit and a photographer, go to a studio, blah, 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 take time off your day, and maybe retake this photo every couple of years as you age or get older. Now you can just generate one instantly with Nano Banana Pro, and it will probably look better than professional photo shoot. So yeah, pro tip, improve your LinkedIn. Another personal use case, which I can relate to a lot, is generating images in restaurant menus, right? I absolutely hate when restaurants do not show you images of the food, especially when you're traveling and you're not familiar with the local cuisine. Well, guess what? This is now a solved problem, right? You just paste in an image of the menu, and then Nano Banana Pro will generate relevant, realistic image of what those foods look like. So you can actually choose okay, maybe I want this, or maybe I want this, maybe I want more eggs, maybe I don't want some vegetable. You can understand it way faster than the reading menu, translating to the language that you're traveling in. Yeah, huge, simple use case, but a huge game changer. And then we go to the topic of learning. And this, I would say Nano Banana Pro is a nuclear weapon when it comes to learning. It will 2 to 4x your learning information. And this is not just some random number I pulled out of my ass. In fact, this is backed by real studies and real research on image versus text, right? So when you use visuals, you can learn way faster than with just text. And in fact, it's 400% boost across many different people. So it's not just like visual learners or auditory learners, blah, blah, blah. On average, if you supplement text with visual learning, you improve your attention and your rate of learning by 400%. This is why I call it the learning nuclear weapon. With Nano Banana Pro, no matter what concept you're trying to understand, no matter what you're trying to learn, you will learn it significantly faster and you will retain way more information than if you just look at text. And of course, as always, I generated an image using Nano Banana Pro to explain this for you. So on the left, we have text-only learning, which is slow and inefficient, right? So here, a human just looks at a bunch of text. Could be ChatGPT, could be a long article, could be a book, doesn't matter. Then your short-term memory tries to process this, and you have very low retention, say 10 to 20% of the information that you actually read. And that's due to the slow information flow. Your brain simply processes text slowly, right? This is a reality. There's no need to fight this reality. The information gets stuck and often forgotten. So learning purely from looking at text is very inefficient. This is where visuals speed up learning significantly. On the right, we have an example of visual plus text learning, right? So here we have the same human, but the input is text, graphs, images, pie charts, photos, whatever. And then the time is less. So not only does it take less time than the original one, but also your brain will retain a lot more information because it goes through the long-term memory pathway, and you can expect maybe 65% retention in less time. And in fact, and this is a crazy statistic, images in your brain has a 60,000 times faster processing than text, right? So if you show an image of something, this is why memes, by the way, are so popular. This is exactly why memes work so well, because our brains process images and visual understanding 60,000 times faster than text. So your recall ability will be significantly better, you will learn the same concept in less time, and overall you will just have a deeper understanding of whatever you're trying to learn. And as you can tell by my enthusiasm, I really do believe that this will revolutionize education. It's especially combined with Notebook LM, where in Notebook LM you can give it a lot of different sources, both images, audio, video, documents, PDFs, and then it processes them and you can generate all of these different formats, which now are powered by Nano Banana Pro, to retain information much faster. So even if you implement just one thing from this video, let it be this. Let it be the fact that no matter what you're trying to learn, use Nano Banana Pro to supplement with visual images, infographics, annotations to learn faster and to become smarter. You can actually become smarter. This is like the Gutenberg press 2.0. So before the printing press was invented, all books and text had to be written by hand, which is very slow, very inefficient, and very expensive. That's why most people were illiterate. There was no way for them to afford books. So they were not intelligent at all because they couldn't read, they couldn't educate themselves. But then in the 1500s, Gutenberg invented the printing press, right? And this was a complete game changer because now you could mass produce books and text and make it a lot cheaper, a lot faster, and reading was accessible to the masses. And people could, for the first time in history, actually become smarter. This is like the same moment, but with AI. With Nano Banana Pro, you can take like the most complicated concepts you can imagine, and you can generate infographics and visual images, explaining them in a fun way, in an interactive way, in a way that you want. So this is like the Gutenberg press 2.0. Really a history-changing moment that takes something that was difficult and manual to something that is scalable, accessible, and affordable. So really, this is only a matter of time before everybody adopts it, right? The question is, will you adopt it today or will you wait 1 or 2 years once it's inevitable and once there no longer is an advantage? The choice is yours. Now, let's move on to more use cases, but this time focused on software and coding. So first off, Google Anti-Gravity. This is a new IDE from Google, basically their own cursor competitor, but it now uses Nano Banana Pro. So this is by far the best way for front-end planning, designing, refactoring. And let me just show you the official video from Google themselves. So again, Nano Banana Pro is fully integrated inside of Google Anti-Gravity. So if the agent needs, it can use the tool to generate an image, such as design of a front-end component, new landing page, or layout, like here. And then Gemini 3 Pro, the coding model, can actually build it in HTML, JavaScript, CSS. And as you can see, you can highlight different elements and you can tell it to change them. And yeah, this is basically a copy of Cursor with the Cursor 2.0 update. But hey, don't hate the player, hate the game, right? All of these tools well, all of them are fork of VS Code, so they're just copying VS Code, but all of them are copying off of each other. And especially given how fast software can be produced with AI, the only mode is speed and really having deep understanding of the customers and of the problems, right? So again, if you want me to make a full video on anti-gravity, comment below, because this is a huge thing. It's an entire new IDE. It's a whole new code editor. And this video already is packed with information, so I cannot go too deep into Google anti-gravity, but I'll probably make a video on that, so make sure to subscribe to not miss this. Another very useful use case for developers and people building software is adding annotations, right? So here is example on some famous moments such as moon landing, rocket, and Formula 1, but you can do this for your documentation as well. Whether internal documentation of your software or the public-facing docs, visuals are much more easier to understand than just text, right? The reason why a lot of people skip docs is because reading docs takes a lot of willpower, a lot of focus, and it's difficult to understand. Well, guess what? If you add a bunch of annotations everywhere, that no longer is the issue. You can take an image, visual thing, right? And you can have, okay, flag made out of nylon, 3 by 5 feet, lunar module, this is legs, Buzz Aldrin, boom, spacesuit, multi-layered, silicone rubber shoe, and like you have explanation of materials in this. Same with the Formula 1 car, you have the halo, front wing, and instantly you can learn the main parts of Formula 1 car. Of course, could you learn this with text? Absolutely. But will you really understand how the halo looks like just by reading about it? No, you won't. So this really is a game changer for documentation. It allows you to make the technical stuff understandable and widely accessible. So now let me show you how to actually add Nano Banana Pro into your own app, into your own code base, because I just did this inside of Vectel. We introduced the image generation tool in the chat, so no matter what model you're using, you can ask it to create an image. So I said, generate an image of what Europe looked like in the year 1850 with clear annotations of different countries and events. And actually, I'm going to show you how I did that inside of Cursor, right? So the 3 key files are the image generation service, which is the main file, is responsible for generating the images using Gemini 3 Pro Image Preview, which is the official API name for Nano Banana Pro. And then it uploads the images to Supabase storage and returns the signed URLs to access that bucket. And this file is pretty simple. It's like 220 lines. And of course, I used Gemini 3 and Codex to write this file. The second core file is image tools, which exposes this to the chat agent, right? So our standard chat agent, which is what you interact with inside of Vectel, can use this tool. You can see here, generating image, and boom, there it is. So let's click on that, and you can see that this is a very nice looking map of what Europe looked like in the 1850s. And you can see that Czech Republic was part of Austrian Empire. We got France after Napoleon Wars, obviously. We still got Prussia, we got the Russian Empire, the Ottoman Empire, which obviously doesn't exist anymore. And yeah, this is a very, very nice map. Right now I'm located somewhere in here as I'm recording this. This is amazing. Like, you can literally get stuck on using Nano Banana Pro for half a day because of how good it is. So this is what we implemented, right? Now inside of Vectel, everybody who's using Vectel for their tasks and task management can access Nano Banana Pro in their chat. And in fact, I used AI agents to help me build the software. So this is the ultimate leverage, right? So not only do I improve my product by being able to incorporate the latest and greatest AI image model into my product, but I used AI agents to actually write the code, right? So Gemini 3 and GPT 5.1 Codex Max are currently the best by a lot. I think Anthropic is very behind. But hey, rumors are that Opus 4.5 is around the corner, so we will see. But basically, here's how I implemented it. So feel free to pause and look at this code. A little sneak peek for you guys. And again, inside of my accelerator, you'll have full access to my code base, all of my systems, stuff like that. But that's only going to be for people who are actually serious about building a software company, not for complete beginners. It's for people who have a deployed app, who have authentication, integrated payments, and at least one paying customer. But again, more on that in a couple of days. So the main gotchas when implementing Nano Banana Pro into your app are these 3 points. First of all, modalities parameter. You cannot just send a prompt. You must explicitly and strictly send what modalities you're including. So whether that is image, whether that is image and text, or just text, right? So here, I only send an image, but your backend must handle this properly. If this didn't send the modalities, it would throw an error, right? So we're using OpenRouter API, but it expects this because that's how Google configured it. If I was to attach an image of maybe like a map style that I like, then it would be both image and text. So it really depends on what input the user is sending. Your code must properly handle that. So when you make the API call, it doesn't fail. The second mistake that a lot of people would make when implementing Nano Banana Pro into their software is they forget that the links expire. So the image links the AI gives you, that Google gives you, will expire after a few minutes because it's endless storage, right? So you must download them immediately and upload them to your own storage. So I'm using Supabase for Vectel if you want to access them forever. So, if I was to refresh this chat and I wasn't doing that, it would get lost. But since we are doing that, if you use Vectel, if you generate any image, it doesn't get lost because it's stored in our database. And then number 3, and this was very difficult to figure out, that's why right now Gemini models are probably the hardest to build software with, right? So like we're using all kinds of models, Anthropic, OpenAI, open source models, XAI models. Unfortunately, Google models are probably the hardest to build with because the response formats are inconsistent, right? So sometimes the image is in a special images array, other times it's hidden in a markdown link. So your code needs to be good at parsing and at handling these different situations. Otherwise, you won't be able to build software with Nano Banana Pro. But if you can, overcome these mistakes, and because you're watching this video, you know not to make them, you should be able to integrate Nano Banana Pro into your app very, very easily, especially since it's available on OpenRouter. Now, here comes probably the most valuable part of the entire video. Specific startup ideas for software products that you can implement. So this is why I added this text right here. Now, I used inference on my brain, which is very expensive, to generate a quick list of ideas, but guys, this is literally endless. This unlocks so many things. If you just sit down for 30 minutes and think about your industry, the amount of possible software tools you can build with Nano Banana Pro, it's disgusting. Like, it's too much, right? So that's why I just listed out a bunch that are such a no-brainer, and these apps are going to exist 12 months from now. Someone's going to make them, and someone's going to get wealthy building them. So it could be you or it could be someone else, but hey, here's just inspiration. So first of all, this is what was the input, right? So this is what I would do in the past. I would just list it out, and talk about it. But no, guys, that's the past. We are living in the future. So what I did is I took this text and this very professionally designed graphic, and I pasted it into Google AI Studio, and I told it to generate an infographic about these startup ideas, which is obviously much better designed. And not only that, I had it explain the insight for each startup idea, explain how to build it, and the go-to-market strategy, how to actually market this idea, right? Because this list only has the startup ideas, but it doesn't explain how you would create that software or how you would market it, which is what a lot of developers struggle with, is actually advertising their SaaS, getting customers, right? So now let me go over this list of startup ideas where not only it includes the idea itself, but how to actually execute it. So first of all, Cursor for presentations, right? Tool like Cursor that allows you to type in plain English and you get an outcome, which inside of Cursor is obviously code. There's going to be stuff like that for presentations. Now, maybe Google will implement it themselves in Google Slides, fully letting vibe code it. Maybe Gamma will do this really well. Or maybe there'll be something new that's like super intuitive, super simple, easy to use, quick, powered by Nano Banana Pro that lets you create amazing presentations from plain English very fast. Another thing, professional headshots app. So this would be more like a mobile app, but basically, yeah, it's a super simple thing where you upload any photos of yourself, maybe like side angle or front angle, and it will just give you professional headshots that you can reuse everywhere. Very simple. You can build this in a couple of hours, and you can do mass marketing. This obviously wouldn't be targeting people like you and me who know about Google AI Studio, who know about OpenRouter and all these tools. This is targeting the masses. The time for this is huge, like is for the other things on this list. So next we have a optimizer for men, for dating apps. You put in photos and you can improve the lighting, put them in different location, improve their clothes, hairstyle, whatever. It's gonna exist, you like it or not. Next, same thing, but for girls. Testing different makeups, seeing what you would look like with, no makeup, makeup, all that girly shit. Same thing with hairstyles. This is actually for men and women. You can test out before you, cut your hair how you would look like. And this is huge, right? Like this happens literally every day where people go to a barber, they try a new haircut and they don't like it. Well, guess what? With Nano Banana Pro, you can prevent that. And again, this is one of these mobile apps that could go super viral, reach millions of users. And it's actually not that difficult to build. Next up, more professional, is like visual infographics for education. So no matter if you're working with schools or online content creators, you can create infographics for any topic, especially the more complex, the better. In fact, physics, math, coding, geography, biology, anything that needs to be explained. If you're able to provide high quality infographics, which again, you can easily do with Nano Banana Pro, that's another startup idea that is going to exist 12 to 18 months from now. Next up, AI research visualizer. So basically something that goes through archive, takes the latest trending research papers and turns them into visual, easy, like whether graphs, charts, infographics. I don't know what the optimal medium is, but hey, that is for the startup founder to figure out. Whoever is building this, you need to figure out what the optimal medium is. Maybe some text and some images, probably, but taking complex AI research papers, which most people have never read a single paper in their life. And most people want to read research papers, but they feel like, they feel inadequate. They have this imposter syndrome that they're not a scientist, that it's too complicated. Well, guess what? With Nano Banana Pro, you can just paste in the whole research paper and have it generate a single explanatory image. Another startup idea that is going to exist is a automated YouTube thumbnail A/B tester. If this existed, I would pay for this money for sure, because you don't have to manually test new thumbnails, right? For those people who are not content creators on YouTube, there is an ability to A/B test your thumbnails, right? You can upload 2 or 3 different images, and then YouTube will recommend them to different people, and whatever has the higher click-through rate will win and get displayed on your video. That way it can perform as well as possible. Now, you can build a startup that automates this, that uses Nano Banana Pro to generate slight variations of these thumbnails. So for example, here it could be different angle, it could be different color of jacket, all of which would still be relevant to the video, but it would be continuous testing of packaging. And for content creators like myself, this would be priceless. So here are just a few ideas that I was able to come up with in like 5 minutes. And again, I want to encourage this. There is unlimited amount of options of different softwares and startups you could build with Nano Banana Pro. It really unlocks an ocean of startup ideas, if you will. So these are just a few. And again, if you're serious about building a software company, join the free waitlist for my own accelerator. The link is going to be below the video. Okay, so now let me go at the bonus section of this video where I explain SynthID and how you would be top 1% of Nano Banana Pro users. So first off, SynthID, what is it, right? So it's an invisible built-in watermark. This is what Nano Banana Pro includes in every single image. So it's not just this corner that, this icon you see inside of Gemini. That is the visible watermark. SynthID is the invisible built-in watermark that is included with every single image that Nano Banana Pro generates. And the purpose is simple. It's to track which images have been generated by AI. So this is from Google, right? Maybe other companies will adopt it, who knows? But Google is able to tell whether an image has been generated by Nano Banana Pro or not, thanks to SynthID. And a pro tip, you can actually drag any image into Gemini or Google AI Studio, and you can have it check if it was created by AI, thanks to SynthID, right? So if you're on the internet and you're not sure, like, is this a real photo? Is this like, AI generated transformation? Maybe like you're trying to lose weight and there's some supplement, whatever. You can just drag it into Gemini and ask, is this AI generated or not? And it will tell you, right? Now, the main question is probably on your mind, but David, how would I remove SynthID, right? Because it's only a matter of time before every single software is checking for SynthID. Well, this is not as simple as it seems. First off, we have to start from first principles. No watermark is unbreakable. So it absolutely is possible to mitigate or remove SynthID, but it's not easy. And the reason for that is Google has trained SynthID on the simple tricks, right? Such as the naive solutions, like cropping the image, resizing, recompression, light filters. This is not enough to remove SynthID. SynthID is embedded in the pixels in a way that you cannot spot with your eye. And to remove it, you'll have to do a lot more advanced image editing and image manipulation than just simple cropping or brightness change. Now again, I might make a full video on that because it's a very fascinating topic, and I think there's a lot of demand in removing watermarks from AI-generated images. Now, sure, there will be tools to remove SynthID, but it's like a loop, right? There will be a stronger tool that removes it, then Google will spot that tool, it will retrain SynthID to know that, okay, this is how to bypass it, and they will patch that, and the loop will repeat. So all of the methods that we discovered to remove SynthID and AI watermarks, it will just make them stronger and more complicated in the future. Another great thing you can do with Nano Banana Pro is upscaling. You can take a blurry image and run it through the model to upscale it. But you have to be careful. So In most cases, this is fine, right? It obviously improves the image, makes it nicer. However, you cannot trust the data. For example, here we have a blurry license plate. Clearly, there is no data in this license plate. You can't even see a single letter. If we go to the right, you can see the license plates clearly. Now, guys, you have to pause and you have to realize you cannot be a dumbass, okay? Because if you've seen any movie in the last 50 years, there is inevitably going to be a scene where they're like on a security camera and they zoom in, they enlarge. That is bullshit. That technology does not exist. You cannot invent information where the pixels do not exist, right? So this is the danger. This invents new data, and people will think this is because of how good it is, right? This is the hallucination. Because of how good and accurate it is, people will think that this is good, that this is an accurate enlargement, an accurate upscale, but it is not. If there is nothing to work with, it just invents the data. Sometimes there is some letters, and they're just kind of blurry and you can upscale them. That's fine. But in a lot of cases, it will just make up new data and you cannot trust it, right? Just know that the movie stuff is complete bullshit. So how do you actually become a pro at prompting Nano Banana Pro, right? How do you become an elite user? A top 1%, top 0.1% context engineer? Well, Google actually gave us the tool, and this is the Say What You See game. So I'm going to link this below the video. This is a very useful tool from Google where you can improve your prompting skills for AI images specifically. So the game is very simple. Say what you see. So let's start level 1. And here is how you play it, right? They give you an image and you must include a description of that image, which trains your brain to put yourself in a position of the AI image model so that you can write much better prompts than you're writing right now. So here's a simple tip. Include information about the medium, the subject, and the context. So the medium in this case is a painting, subject is a dog, and the context is in a field, the environment. Let's begin. So here Google gives us an image, and this is AI generated, obviously. I feel like I need to say that, but it's kind of obvious. Hey, so we need to say what we see, right? So this is what will improve my prompt engineering skills. So what do I see? I do see black and white pencil painting of a river and a hill. Maybe it's not a pencil, maybe it's like minimalist pastel painting. Okay, maybe that's better. Let's see what my accuracy is. So now it will generate a new image based on my prompt and it will compare them to see how correct they are. And this is pretty good. 60% match, black and white. Maybe I shouldn't use minimalist, that removes some of the details. But now you know that like using minimalist is bad in this case. If you feel like you would like to improve your skills at Nano Banana Pro, I'm going to link this below the video so you can train yourself to think like an image model would. And it trains the core skill of turning what's in your head into sharp, specific prompts so that you really describe the details so that you get the image output that you want. Now, in terms of your daily use, how do you get better, right? So this is more for like training yourself, upskilling yourself. Let's look at daily use. When you're using Nano Banana Pro in your business, in your work, first of all, including images and context, right? So let's say in this example where I had the map generated, if I just went to Google and say like Europe history map, and I looked for a format that I like, so maybe I want like this, really like hand created, detailed stuff like that. And I would copy that, boom, go into Google AI Studio, paste it, and I say, make the map look more like this. Another great tip is including text when you need explanation. So we did that earlier, right? You do a deep research, whether it is with ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, you include the outputs of that deep research, and then based on that, you can see that, boom, this is the deep research. Based on that, Nano Banana Pro generates the image. So it doesn't have to like do as much Google searching, and it will be way more accurate if you provide the text and all of the context you want it to generate, instead of being super vague and it has to do all the research itself. And the third tip I have, which is very important, when you're generating multiple like edits in a row, right? So you generate V1, you want to change something, you generate another one. The moment it goes in the wrong direction, you need to reset. You need to resend to a new chat instead of continuing going in the same thread. Basically, don't keep patching a bad seed, right? This kind of applies with language models as well, but it especially applies with image models. Like with your face, when I was doing thumbnails, if you do enough edits, it kind of starts messing up your facial expression. At which point you need to take the last great image, use that as the original reference in the first prompt, and start over from scratch. Otherwise, you're just building on top of bad foundation. And actually, we have the new map right here, and you can see that it is much more closer to this than, you know, this image, like visual one, which is very vibrant colors, very like, yeah, for kids. And this is more like historical, even though some of these drawings could still be changed. Now notice how it kept the colors in the Google logo. That's also impressive. Okay, let's go back. And all of this, everything we talked about, leads me to make a prediction for the next 12 to 18 months, right? Because this is a huge update. This is not just a small improvement. It's a complete revolution. It's a game changer. So I'm going to make a prediction that we will see Nano Banana Pro everywhere 12 months from now. And when I say everywhere, I mean coding tools, image tools, design tools, chat tools, phone apps, like any type of software where having realistic images would make sense. Or on the street, right? Like even walking, when I was in New York, we could see AI ads for like gyms and stuff, but they were very obvious AI ads, probably using some old version of Midjourney or Stable Diffusion. With Nano Banana Pro, you won't be even able to tell. You'll see like someone displaying a new t-shirt, like some clothing, fashion, and it'll be like attractive model with like perfect harmony score and everything, and you'll feel like, wow, this must be some Victoria's Secret model. No, this is Nano Banana Pro generated image, and you won't be able to tell. It's actually a bad day to be a model. It's a good day to be an image model, an AI model. It's not a good day to be a fashion model. Anyways, let me give you a practical action step from this video. Set up Google AI Studio. Go here, set up the API, create an account. You can obviously log in with your Google account, but go to Google Cloud Console, set up the API key, and start using Nano Banana Pro in here. Takes a couple of minutes to set up and generate 3 different images for 3 different use cases. You need to start using it yourself. You cannot just watch videos like mine, even though I appreciate it, even though it's valuable for me that you watch my videos. I would much rather have you actually execute. Go ahead, improve your life, scale your business, and use this for something, right? Don't just be a watcher, be an action taker. Because by diving into this deeply today and actually mastering the model and how to use it, you'll have an unfair advantage over everyone else. It's the same as getting serious about ChatGPT the day it released, or a few days after it released. People that waited a year, half a year, 2 years before using it, they're late to the party. Today, you have an opportunity to be early to the party. So get serious. Do not treat Nano Banana Pro as an incremental update. It's a complete breakthrough, and you have to treat it that way. And if you do treat it that way, you'll have an unfair advantage over everyone else who doesn't. And if you want to have an unfair advantage when it comes to coding with AI, then make sure to join the new society. Inside, you'll learn everything you need to know to master AI coding. In fact, I'll show you how you can build anything with AI agents. And no, you don't have to be a programmer, you don't need any prior experience, and you need just 30 minutes a day. That's it. Inside of the new society, you get access to multiple weekly calls where we help you build your software with AI. You can talk to me directly, ask any questions, get technical support from senior developers, and much, much more. Now, inside of the classroom, you get access to tons of content that's high level specifically for coding with AI. So inside of this workshop right here, we have modules on Cursor, on Claude Code, on Codex, on the fundamentals of GitHub, and everything you need to build a serious software company with AI agents. And by the way, if you don't like it, we have a 14-day money-back guarantee. So if you're serious about coding with AI, make sure to join. It's going to be linked below the video. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you found this video valuable, and I wish you a wonderful, productive week. See ya.